Okay, take two. I started doing this, and then my boyfriend came home, and my dog started barking. So here we are, take two. Welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. Of course, my name is Bryce. We are going to be doing a little bit of a self-care Sunday over on Fusion Body Studio, my online fitness boutique that I run with my friend Paula. We have been so blessed to be able to create an online platform to share everything that I really do off YouTube, like what I do for a living in the real world. I have been so blessed to spend many years in India studying traditional yoga and learning the foundation of spirituality, which has gotten lost in the Western world. So many people think spirituality is pulling tarot cards and talking to, spirits and all that kind of stuff. That's not spirituality. Don't fool yourself. That is not spirituality. That is communication. Spirituality is being in your body. That is why all of the ancient mystery schools, all the ancient teachings of the East tell you the same thing. Spirituality starts with exercise. It starts with being in your body, learning to use your body as the template, the main force of friction in this existence that your soul has picked here on planet Earth. And so for me, on Fusion Body Studio, we again have taken all of my education in the East and have made it into a more modern, accessible online fitness boutique. Whether you're into spirituality or not, you can use this as a gym or you can use it as a way to start your own journey into learning your soul and figuring out who you were before you forgot who you were. Now, with that being said, many years ago, I injured my sacrum and I found a lot of rehabilitation through the practice of barre, BARRE. This comes from the ballet barre that you see ballerinas hold, and it is a physical fitness class that's adapted from ballet in order to rehabilitate the body. In my rehabilitation process, I realized that barre is fundamentally doing something that is very elusive and hard to find, and that is it is triggering what we call mula bandha. Now, if you know about the chakras, but you don't know about the bandhas, then you know nothing because the chakras don't mean anything. There's nothing to the chakras if they don't have the bandhas. The bandhas are locks. Within the body, you have three: Mula bandha at the base of your perineum, Uddiyana bandha in your stomach, belly button coming up, back and up, and then Jaladhara bandha in your throat. Mula bandha being the base of that and being the most elusive and hardest bandha to really, really feel that contraction. And what barre does is that by using the ball in between the legs and the abductors and also coming up on the balls of the foot, pressing into the big toe, it is forcing Mula bandha to start to strengthen itself, that pelvic floor. And so this causes all sorts of positive reactions in the body. Not only does it strengthen Mula bandha in the spiritual sense, which is then able to pull the energy up the spine, up Sushumna, but it also again gives you a strong pelvic floor and a strong core, which relieves a lot of back pain. It also vanity purpose makes your stomach really flat and strong, makes your butt really toned, makes your hips really mobile and open. And so I, through my rehabilitation from my injury, started to really appreciate barre and started to incorporate more in my teachings. And so what we have done now, my boyfriend himself has started to do barre and his body has changed. Everything has changed for him since he himself started doing barre as well, just because of the benefits that I was experiencing. However, we know that a lot of men don't want to do barre because it's marketed towards women. And so what we have done over on Fusion Body Studio is we have our barre fusion library with all of our very barre dancey workouts that I do, but we've created a separate playlist called Barre for Men, in brackets women too, which we're setting up the barre classes a little bit differently for this particular playlist. The fusion playlist, still ongoing, is very dance oriented. It's a lot of cardiovascular, but the barre for men, we remove some of the flowy stuff and we make it more basic for men so that men feel a little bit more masculine doing what is notoriously a feminine practice. We know here in the United States that a lot of professional athletes, like professional American football players, are forced to do things like ballet because it helps give them agility on the field. There's just so many benefits to doing barre for men and for women. And so, with that being said, for this self care Sunday, I'm going to let you guys watch a brief conversation between my boyfriend and me and his experience with barre, and then a quick promo for our barre for men. Now, all the discount codes are going to be in this promo in case you want to try it. You can use the discount codes. They're also in the description box below where you get 20% off your first 6 months with us. You also get your first 7 days for free. So if I have any men in the audience that are really wanting to try barre, want to try for the health benefits of barre, for the vanity purposes of what bar does to your body, but you're a little bit intimidated to go into a bar class because it's mostly women, this is something you can do in the comfort of your own home. So, with that being said, let's get into it with this self-care Sunday. And again, one more time, even though it's bar for men, women can do it as well. We just wanted to make a playlist that was more geared towards the masculine energy, where the bar fusion classes are more geared towards the feminine energy. So, with that being said, sit back, relax, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me down in the comment section below. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fusion Body Studio Bar for Men. We're going to put this conversation up in the Bar for Men playlist on our exercise membership. Normally, we don't do interviews on the exercise membership, but we wanted to have a conversation about this for the men about bar to help the men feel a little bit more comfortable with this practice of bar. And if you hear anything, our dog is chewing on a bone right beside me. So he's happy though. So we're just going to let him continue chewing on the bone. So you guys, y'all know Todd. This is my partner, Todd. And Todd, we just finished filming our first Bar for Men episode for Fusion Body Studio where you let me teach you. How was that?
It was
Pretty
good. It was
nice.
it was good. He didn't do a whole lot of adjusting me, which I was surprised. Um, but I've been doing bar for pretty consistently for about 3 months now. So, I'm definitely improving. At first, I felt like I was stumbling around and it took me a while to get used to the movements because they all felt, pretty foreign to me. But with some self-practice, I've got a basic grasp of it.
Well, let's roll back a little bit because the reason why we're creating Bar for Men, this playlist here on Fusion Buddy Studio, we already have a full playlist of bar fusion classes. But we decided to do them a little bit differently in the bar for men section, which women can do too. Like this is not just for men. Women can do the bar for men as well. But we wanted to organize it a little bit differently because most men, and the reason why I brought Todd on to talk about this is because he can relate to this. Most men are very they have an aversion to doing these kind of fitness classes because it
Uh,
seems very feminine to them. In
yeah,
fact,
I yeah, I was going to say I used to say when you would try to encourage me to do bar with you, I would say that those aren't man movements.
you would say you're just dancing around. You're just dancing
Right.
around. And
Uh,
the thing about bar, so bar is a form of fitness that it started in the 1950s. It does come from ballet, but it takes from the physical rehabilitation of ballet and it incorporates yoga and Pilates into it as well. And it's more for physical fitness and rehabilitation of the body than it is for actual performance-based movement. But we know that even to this day, professional athletes like American football players do ballet classes. We know Arnold Schwarzenegger was famous for also taking ballet classes. And you finally acquiesced. You
yeah,
finally decided to start doing a bar, and you've been doing
yeah,
more bar fusion type movements.
right.
And within the first week of doing it, what happened? You lost like 9 pounds, didn't you?
Right, yeah. And I didn't even necessarily need to lose that much weight, but that was one of the first things that I noticed doing bar. For one, it was kicking my ass, absolutely kicking my ass. Probably as much as when I first started the practice of Ashtanga yoga. And that's the first thing that really surprised me, is how I would just be, profusely sweating, puddle of sweat underneath me, slipping around a little bit, until I realized, I needed a yoga rug to soak up all the sweat because I was working so hard. And from the outside, they looked like, pretty simple movements. But once you get into it and you start doing it, it it's so difficult. I would equate it to the difficulty of the Ashtanga practice, and sometimes I feel like it's even a little bit more difficult. And I would have to say, after doing it consistently for 3 months, probably in the best shape of my life, even
Oh,
though I've been physically active for, you know, at least 40 years, including all the skateboarding I did as a kid,
yeah.
and then, getting a little lazy there for a while in my, mid or early 20s, and then getting Ashtanga and doing that for years, and even after all of that, physical activity of both being a teacher and practicing yoga seriously, Ashtanga yoga specifically, nothing has come along like bar that's challenged me to my core like bar has.
Yeah.
And yeah, and another thing that I was really impressed with about bar is its work, how do you put it, with your vestibular system of balance. It's like I don't think I've ever had balance as solid as I have now just through doing bar for the 3 months that I have.
Which says a lot because yoga requires a lot of balance, but you're
Uh-huh.
right, it's different. And you know, I found bar, you know that I had a severe injury back in 2016. It's been, can you believe it's been 9 years, almost 10 years that I've been doing bar consistently?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I had a really bad injury that halted. I mean, I was my sacrum was completely messed up. And it was my friend Chris, our friend Chris up in Canada, who's a movement therapist, that had suggested bar. And I had never, I kind of knew what bar was, but I never really entertained it. I was pretty much all Ashtanga yoga. I think you and I would do some like cardio classes here and there, but it
Mhm.
was mainly Ashtanga. And my friend Chris was like, listen, you were injured in the practice. Even though the practice didn't injure you, you just had a really bad teacher that injured you. You understand that, but your body's still going to react in a certain way when you're in the practice. And so he's like, you're going to have to find another way of physical therapy to get your body strong again, and that you don't have any type of an emotional attachment to. And he had suggested, first he suggested Pilates, wasn't a huge fan of Pilates. Then he suggested bar. And we even went back when you were living in Decatur. We went to a bar class. You came with me to an actual bar, pure bar class. I
Mhm.
thought you were going to break up with me in the middle of the class because I think you were the only man in that class with me.
Mhm.
Um, and then, but I wasn't super, with the practice of Ashtanga yoga, Todd, we're used to being like challenged. Like Ashtanga yoga challenges you. It
Mhm.
is not like these cute little vinyasa flow classes you see. It
Mhm.
is like legitimately, there's no sweet teacher voice, there's no India music playing. It is like full on stern, do it again, do it again, do it again. And Ashtanga yoga changes your body and does that kind of stuff as well. But after I got injured, when I was trying to find the perfect bar class to take, I really couldn't find something that I felt matched the Ashtanga yoga until I discovered Marty Alton on the internet during gearing up towards lockdown. She had a few videos up, and then towards lockdown, she migrated over to a platform base, and so I started to really like work with her a lot. And you notice, Todd, I will say, because Todd doesn't adjust me that much because he can't. You can't teach your partner, but occasionally you will adjust me. And you had said to me when I first started to really dive into the bar curriculum, incorporating it with the Ashtanga practice, you started to adjust me and you started to immediately notice changes in my body. Because you
Mhm.
had adjusted me before I started doing bar. You started noticing my back muscles, that my
Uh-huh.
back was getting strong. Do you want to touch on that a little bit just from your
I mean,
experience?
it's been a long time. I don't really recall. I mean, I remember, the injury and what was going on with your pelvis and how, it was an ongoing issue for a while there. And then once you started bar, that clicking in your pelvis and, shifting around of your pelvis wasn't happening anymore. And then, you were no longer complaining about the pelvic pain that you were experiencing before bar. And so yeah, I definitely saw, your body healing and getting stronger in, in a new way, something that the practice wasn't doing on its own.
Well, and it
Yeah.
was making my practice feel what I noticed, the first thing I noticed about bar was that we have this elusive concept called mullabandha. And this is a lock in your perineum. And athletes use Mullabandha too. They don't call it that. It's more like a floating effect where you have control. It's how football, I mean, David Grieg used to watch football players, like slow it down and watch how these 300-pound American football players were able to move with such agility. And it's because they had this connection to Mullabandha. Well, funnily enough, football players, notoriously professional football players, do ballet. That's part of their training is ballet. But what I was noticing about the bar work with my massive background in yoga and energetic body was that it really focuses a lot on molla bunda, on the perineum. By having you come to your tiptoes and squeeze a ball in between your legs, it was activating that very simple movement of coming to the balls of your feet, squeezing a ball in between your legs, was having you activate your body in a different way, which was causing the abductors, the inner thigh, to really brace the pelvic floor, which is molla bunda. Did you
Mhm.
notice that when you started doing bar? Was that something you noticed, the
Yeah,
inner
that's what I was
thigh
saying
connection?
about the balance.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the more awareness and strength you have within your core, the more intuitively you're going to be able to move, and the more balance that you're going to have, effortless balance. And that also lends to, a really solid lower back, which is really important. And what, a lot of people struggle with is lower back pain and weakness. And so, yeah, I definitely noticed that even more so with bar than in Ashtanga, you
yeah.
know,
Well, the
admittedly.
main focus, the crux, I mean, you work everything in bar. It really is a total body workout.
And the way that bar works is it truly isolates when you're doing specific muscle work. It truly isolates that work within that muscle group. And there's no way to really cheat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the position that you have to hold your body, and especially like y- when you're forced to balance and stabilize yourself in a position and then work separate areas of your body at the same time, it truly isolates that work. Because with other work, whether it be weights or other standing or body weight exercise, there's seems that there's always a way to cheat it a little bit, even if you're not aware. But with bar, there's no cheating, you
Yeah,
know?
it's very honest. It makes you take
Right,
a long, hard, honest look at what's really going on. It doesn't allow,
right,
it works the accessory muscles,
right.
which are more of the minor muscles. And a lot of
Mhm,
times, and this is, I was reading up on men in bar, and this happens with every human body, but especially for men, that sometimes the bigger muscle groups will take over in the
mhm,
body.
right.
And so these smaller muscles kind of get ignored and kind of go into atrophy, but these smaller muscles are actually the more powerful muscles if they're given a chance to
Mhm,
stabilize themselves. And so
right.
that's why professional athletes have to do ballet is because it forces the accessory muscles because that can happen. You look at the quadricep, it's a huge muscle group in the leg. It will take over from the adductors in a second if you let it. And the adductors are in the inner thigh. So the quads will start to take over. But those adductors actually connect to the transverse abdominis. So they go into the core system. And so if you have strong inner thighs, you typically also have a strong core, which is also molla bunda. It's that flying up from the base of the body into that core sensation. And
Mhm,
so, yeah, it's the burning out of the micro movement of these tiny accessory muscles that literally pull also, the effects, the vanity effects of this practice. You're not going to get a sicker body, a better looking body than when you're practicing bar.
mhm.
You notice that
Yeah.
with me. As I got into my 40s, my body is like getting younger.
Mhm,
My abs are getting stronger because
right.
what's happening is that these micro movements, these accessory muscles are being activated. And so they're pulling in the other muscles, like the transverse abdominis, which is not a vanity muscle. It's a muscle that runs across your stomach like a cummerbund. And if it's strong and tight, it's going to pull in the other muscles that then support the six pack. Does that make sense?
Mhm,
It also secures the joints. I mean, being able to work the micro movements. And so for
right.
the men watching Todd, to get them, what would you tell like a stereotypical heterosexual, like alpha tough guy who's scared to try bar? What would you tell them? What would your advice be to these men?
Shit, I don't know.
Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, That that it'll kick your ass more than anything. Yeah.
Well,
And looks are deceiving, you know.
yeah, you used
And
to laugh
I
at me
was
and be
I
like,
was
you're just
I was
dancing
humble
around.
I was humbled by it. And now that you mentioned about men relying on the larger muscle groups, it makes a lot of sense of why it kicked my ass so bad, you know? Because even though I'm pretty body aware, um, there was obviously still some blind spots, and it brought those to the surface. It had me like crumbling at times within the workout, where I was just on my hands and knees and I didn't even feel like I could go anymore, but I would just get up and try to keep going while I'm shaking and cussing and yeah, and I just pushed through it. And after the first month and a half, 2 months, I mean, I really feel like after the second into the third month, I'm just starting to really feel like I'm getting a grip on it. Yeah.
Well, I laugh because after you acquiesced and you finally started doing it and you started to really experience it, you would pull me aside and be like, "Have you tried this move?" And I was like, "Yes, this is why I've been trying to get you to do this. Like I do that every day, you
Uh-huh.
know." Can you
Yeah.
see though for our men, can you give any indication of like this practice, this exercise can absolutely be done on its own as a complete workout?
Right. And you don't have to let your friends see you do it.
No, you're doing it at home,
You
right?
know,
You're doing
I, I
it.
still I still don't want anyone to see me doing the full workouts. The ones that you choreograph for me are good, and that's okay. But there's some of them, that it does seem a little, I don't know how to put it, a little feminine, too
Feminine.
feminine.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's,
and it's sort of awkward. But I understand the value in it, and so I'll do it. Because I understand it now and I see and feel the value of it. And um, yeah,
I mean,
so
think
that
about
that
it
was
like
what that was one of my was one of my challenges. Is just like it just felt just awkward for me, and that I became okay with that because of the benefits that I've been experiencing. Yeah,
when you know from your yoga practice that where it feels awkward is actually where you should be leaning in the most. And
right.
where it's
Uh-huh.
hard, where it's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that's actually where your work actually lies. And it forces that
Mhm.
mind-body connection. Like yoga, bar really forces a mind-body connection because when you're up on your tippy toe and you've got your other leg extended, you can't be anywhere else but in the moment with your body.
Mhm.
You have to be in that moment with your body. For guys who are tempted to try bar, it can be its own workout. And in fact, when you first start bar, it might be so exhausting that that might be the only workout you do during the day. However, incorporating bar into your week, like I did with Ashtanga yoga. I did it. I wasn't, God has a sense of humor, right? I was not interested in any other practice but Ashtanga until I was massively injured and I had to start looking elsewhere in order to rehabilitate my body. And that's where I was given this gift of bar. But for men, Todd, like who do weightlifting or boxing or running, like really alpha activities, if they incorporate bar into their week, it's going to make those other activities so much stronger.
And it's just all it takes is a couple of days a week.
Yeah. And more
Yeah.
precise, it's going to make your agility. Again, I'm going to reiterate professional athletes do ballet.
And
They
it's going to
do
make your
ballet.
body feel more put together.
That's the best
That's
part of bar for me, honestly, is
um,
my body. I tell you all the time, like I'm 42 and my body feels stronger and more put together, and I feel more grounded in my body than I ever have in my whole entire life.
right. I would have to agree. That's my experience as well.
You're 53, right?
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
see your body changing from bar as well. So there's really no
Yeah.
time limit, is there?
No.
Your body
Uh-uh.
just reacted and you do sweat a lot. There's a lot of detoxing from that anaerobic work that's happening
Hmm.
with the
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
And again, for men, it'll make your wives happy, won't it? Won't it, Todd? If they
Uh-huh.
take a class with their wives, a bar
Yeah.
class,
Uh-huh.
and you
Yeah.
get to see and appreciate, like for if your wives have been doing bar or Pilates, you get to appreciate how hard they've been working,
Yeah.
right? Is there
Hmm.
anything else you want to say to the men who are tempted to do bar with for men with you? So Todd is the one that's going to be doing the exercises. I'm teaching it, but he's the one doing it with you guys. So
Right. Yeah.
let's talk quickly about the weights. I want to touch on that quickly about the weight
Yeah, and
section.
the lighter weights are much better, 2 to 3 pounds. I tried the 5 pound weights the first time, and I immediately within the first 30 seconds realized no way, got to go to
Yeah.
the lighter weights because you're working on smaller muscle groups, the finer muscle groups, and you don't need heavy weights for that work to be done. And
No,
you're
it's
dealing with more.
dangerous
You're
for
dealing
you.
with smaller movements and more repetition.
Yeah.
So the smaller weights are much better.
The heavier weights, the first time you ever did a class, I warned you. I was like, you're not gonna want. And you're like, no, I got
Yeah,
this. I got the heavy weights. But it's
yeah.
different from like when you're deadlifting,
Mhm.
you're using your whole body to support the weight. You're putting it down for a few seconds, picking it back up. That's not the same in bar. In bar, you're using the body in a different way. There, it's more of a quicker movement. And the body is moving in a different way, and so you need the lighter weights, guys. Do not
Right,
think you're a tough guy.
right.
It's
It,
you need
it it
lighter
calls
weights.
for a certain amount of precision that you're not going to be able to maintain with heavier weights.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Most
Uh,
of the teachers I know who teach bar professionally and have for years, like Marnie Alton, rarely go above 2 pounds. That's where I'm more comfortable as a woman with 2 pounds. Sometimes I'll do 3 pounds, but I'm way more comfortable. I'm in way more control with two
mhm,
pounds. I know for this first video you did 3 pounds.
mhm.
How was that doing 3 songs with 3 pound weights
It was doable. Yeah, but it was
for
still
our men?
challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you can do this without weights too. It's totally doable. So with that
Yeah.
being said, this was just a quick little conversation about bar for men. Is there anything else that you want to tell the dudes out there?
No, just try it. That's it.
Try it with an
Give it a
open
shot.
mind,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a lot harder than you think it is. And then go kiss
Right.
your wife when you're done to realize how hard your wife has been working.
Right.
Um, with it's not just dancing around, my friends. It's not
No,
just
it's
dancing
not.
around. So,
Uh-uh.
well, thank you for doing this, and you
Yeah,
guys.
you're welcome.
Please enjoy this new series. We're going to continue to contribute videos to it. And for the men out there and the women out there, if there's anything that you want us specifically to tackle in one of these bar for men episodes or videos or any of the other videos, please let us know so that we can serve you best. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
You're welcome. Bye.
Over on Fusion Body Studio, we have a brand new playlist of exercise videos, a playlist that I personally am so excited about. This is Bar for Men and women. Now, we already have a bar fusion playlist full of a ton of different bar classes that I have designed, but because of the men on our studio and my own experience with bar, what it's done for me and what it's done for my boyfriend, I decided to create a playlist specifically with men in mind. Now, again, this playlist can be done by women too. However, I've made this playlist a little bit more masculine in the way that I've set up the exercises and the way that I've planned out the classes. Before my boyfriend started doing bar, he used to always laugh and say it was too feminine for him or that I was just dancing around. But when he finally acquiesced and decided to do bar, he ended up losing 9 pounds in 1 week. And at 53, he has gotten his 22-year-old six-pack back. His butt is perky again, and he's walking a little taller and feeling a little bit better about himself. In fact, just recently, he told me that he craves bar now over yoga, over strength training. And this is obviously something that a little secret that I've known for the past 9 years, because bar has definitely changed my body. It's made my Ashtanga practice so much stronger. It's healed my injuries, and it's made me at 42 feel sexier and feel way more in my body than I ever did in my 20s. Now, for bar 2 for men, we also look at the history that athletes in this country specifically, football players, American football players, are notoriously told to go and take ballet classes. This helps with agility. It works the smaller accessory muscles, which then support the heavier, bigger muscles. So regardless of what other activity you're doing as a man, if you're doing weightlifting, if you're running, if you're rowing, if you're kickboxing or boxing, bar is going to help support that activity. Bar is so beneficial for men, even though it's often marketed towards women. Many athletes, martial artists, and physical therapists now incorporate bar movements because of how effectively it trains stabilizer muscles, mobility, and body control. Bar targets small, often overlooked muscles, especially in the hips, the glutes, and core, that are essential for athletic performance and joint stability. These muscles help prevent injuries during running, weightlifting, or other contact sports. The isometric holds and the micro movements develop endurance control, not just bulk. It's better to control squats, deadlifting, and especially overhead work. Bar integrates dynamic and static stretching throughout the workout. It helps open up hip flexors, hamstrings, calves, and the chest, improving range of motion. The increased mobility reduces the risk of strains and definitely improves your posture. It strengthens the muscles that support the spine, improves postures and alignment, which is crucial for both the aesthetics and joint health. It reduces lower back pain caused by weak glutes or tight hip flexors, which is very, very, very common in men. It improves neuromuscular coordination and body awareness. It helps with agility, balance, and effective movement patternings. It's incredible for athletes, for dancers, for skiers, and anyone who needs strong proprioception. It also helps you develop concentration and self-awareness similar to yoga or martial arts, and it encourages mental focus and presence during physical effort. It reduces the wear on knees, hips, and the spine. It builds strength evenly around joints, preventing muscular imbalance, and it improves circulation and connective tissue elasticity. So all in all, bar is an incredible, incredible workout as well as a therapeutic exercise for both men and women. And again, on Fusion Body Studio, we are creating a playlist specifically for men, and my boyfriend has volunteered to be the model. I will be teaching these classes, and he is going to be modeling them for you. We are so excited about this, and we hope that this helps men get confidence to do these types of workouts. You can especially do them with your wives. Now, men can do the bar fusion classes that we already have on the platform, but in case you think those are a little too girly, you can do the bar for men, which are a little bit more masculine. And as Todd said recently, the beautiful thing too is that you can do this in the comfort of your own home, so your guy friends at the gym never have to know. You can do this by yourself, and it'll just be a mystery as to why all of a sudden you're getting your gym performance is enhancing. So with that being said, if you would like to experience bar for men and women, please join us over on Fusion Body Studio. I am going to give you Todd's discount code since he has volunteered to be our guinea pig. You can use discount code AYA20 at checkout for 20% off your first 6 months with us over on Fusion Body Studio. That's AYA20. That gives you 20% off. On top of that, you also get the first 7 days for free to try the studio out. And if you don't like it after 7 days, you can cancel, no problem. Otherwise, we so look forward to seeing you over on the studio. We really hope that this new playlist that were added to the studio helps all of our men and our women become more confident in their body and in their own healing and fitness journey.